All right, mind trapping. Why should you learn it? It's one of the most powerful PvP tools, and if used well, it can win you fights even if you're worse than the enemy. A lot of people are used to duels without mines, but that can backfire in a real scenario, so learning mine traps is pretty important on a snub. And on bombers as well, as you will see in this video. So, how to mine trap? There are three ways you can mine trap somebody. There is jousting somebody like in an actual duel, which is by far the most common way of mine trapping and the one you usually see people doing. Then there is the one when you're being chased, especially in a bomber. And lastly, there's mine ramming people. All three are relatively important to learn. The most important one is the first one because mines are made for duels. You will rarely use them in a group fight, and if you watch my previous video about group fights, you will see that it's not good to use them in 99% of scenarios when you're the target. Okay, so we'll start with jousting your opponent. I again have my friend Kars here. Say hello.
Hello again.
And we will try to make a demonstration of just mind trapping in a regular duel. So what's the concept? The concept is when you see somebody, you're going to joust somebody in a duel, and he's going to start approaching you. What you will want to do is the easiest way to do it is slide to one side and drop a mine like as he's moving towards you, and then CD that mine. CDs are essential to mine trapping, and without them, you will have a very hard time mine trapping people efficiently. So I'm just gonna let Karst run, fly straight at
Just
me.
to clear this up in case somebody is very new and doesn't understand that CDs have a large explosion radius which will trigger mines that are in it. And so if you're in a duel where you're close together and either side gets hit by a CD, it's going to detonate all the mines that are around you.
Yeah.
Like that.
And because if you don't CD, the target has to run directly into the mine in order to take damage. Well, this way they just have to be close to your CD radius, which is on the Mosquito, it's pretty decent. So you will detonate mines. Now fly straight at me in a straight line. What you want to do is drop a mine like this and then CD it. And as I can see, you can see I hit him immediately. This is pretty consistent, but it's a basic tutorial, right? You're not going to be able to do this against good PvPers. Let me just de-shield you real quick so I show the hull damage. Okay, that works too. Run at me again. I didn't have the CD arc here. This is really important. So you want to drop a mine, run at me again. Drop a mine, and then the CD, I swear to God. Yeah, the CD arcs vary from ship to ship, but as you can see here, I hit him again. Sometimes they won't do full damage, and they're not expected to, but any damage is fine, really.
Nuclear mines have such a high damage that even if you don't hit fully, and even if you don't hit very often, they'll easily out-damage guns. Especially in a duel. It's not unusual that in a duel, more than half the total damage, hull damage, will be done by mines.
Yeah. And that's pretty much for the basic jousting mine trapping. It's just EK and then a timed CD. Of course, the exact timing depends from person to person. It sometimes can be pretty hard to determine it, but with practice, you can learn this efficiently. Keep in mind that doing this every single turn will make you predictable, and that's very bad. You don't want to mine trap. You don't want to spam mines at all, because people will start CDing you, and you will hurt yourself more than the enemy with the mines. Mines are always a double-edged sword, remember that. You can always damage yourself just as much as the enemy. Like here, this was a perfect nuke mine to demonstrate the EK. I just EK and hit him. Please don't die, Karst.
That's an important general rule about mines, is that don't overuse them. There's no point in dropping a bunch of mines if none of them are going to hit. It's usually a lot more effective to go about your normal dueling style, just joust the enemy, and once they get comfortable with that and are not expecting mines, that's when you drop a mine. You don't need many. It's a huge advantage to hit the enemy even just once in a whole fight with a nuke. That's what, 17,000 damage or something.
Try to mine trap me now. I'm gonna fly at you. So let's say I'm shooting him, I'm flying. He's gonna do the. No, take a bigger. I'm gonna. You see, he didn't CD yet. He did an EK. This was.
I did, but
this
CD didn't track.
Okay. No.
And again, I'm gonna have to reselect here. My CDs aren't well. I mean, obviously,
I'll be mind trapping you more. Yeah.
I wouldn't normally. You wouldn't normally ever drop. That's another basic rule about mines. Is of course you don't drop them if the enemy has shields. That's pointless.
Well, if they have a full shield, it can be useful. I'm not gonna, especially if you have a shield. Beginner tip: do not drop a mine if you don't have a shield, because
really aren't tracking.
The risk of getting your mine blown up in your face is too high for you to risk losing the hull, especially if you're still being used to mine trapping. So if you don't have a shield, just don't drop mines. There are some other angles you can launch them from. The easiest one is this, like EK and then CD, and it's by far the most consistent way. Now we're gonna turn to the second type of mine trapping, which is being chased by somebody. Karst, shoot me like you shot me in a group fight before. So basically he's gonna start shooting me, I'm gonna start dodging away. And how you do this is you start EKing towards one side, drop a mine, and then CD it. Now watch. EK, drop, shoot, and I hit him. Even though this was not even an ideal mine,
You didn't hit me very well, but what you did do is I saw the mine coming and I had to turn away. And so you gained distance on me.
Yeah,
so
now I'm in.
You can do that even if you don't hit the enemy at all. If they have a mine in front of them, they're going to have to turn away if they don't want to get hit. And that can help you get distance if you're being chased.
Try to do it. Like when I'm shooting the target, can't do it well on 60 FPS, but...
That just not hit the
It didn't at all, yeah.
I have wasps, by the way.
Well, that's the problem then, yeah. That's the main problem. Wasps are... Let's do it
no wonder
again.
my CDs weren't working properly.
Shoot me. So
You're
what
going to have to be demonstrating the CD here.
Yeah, so he's shooting me, he's very close now, so what I want to do is drop the mine and instantly CD, like watch this. Well, I don't have the arc, but it still hit him.
Yeah, and I saw it coming, but it was too close and there was no way to dodge that. If you're going to be, you don't have to be in a chase fight necessarily, but if you're just in a normal duel, and let's say, I'm gonna turn now and get him into a situation where we're both turning around each other, and we don't see each other properly, but we're very close together. I'm assuming I can't actually see you, and then you can do something like that. And, well, I can't detonate my mines now because I have the wrong CD, but.
Okay. So the being chased part is really important, mostly for bombers. I don't have a bomber right now, but shoot me again. It's vital to de-shield snubs the easiest way, because usually mine trapping people, you can do it with the EK part, but in a bomber, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with people. They will outmaneuver you. So you want to do this. You want to like dodge this, EK, mine, CD, and you will hit the enemy. This is an insta de-shield on any snub in a bomber, and then you go for a snack or whatever you have. On fighters, like usually you'll not be running away like this, otherwise you're in a group fight, and then I wouldn't recommend you dropping mines at all. But it can sometimes be useful in a duel if somebody is on your ass, like somebody early turned you, for instance, and you know they're behind you, and there's nothing you can do with your guns because they're in your face. So you just drop a mine and quickly CD them. And there's a chance that they will eat that mine. And that's why early turning outside of con with mines on can also be a double-edged sword, and this is a really good way to counter that. And the last one, probably favorite for people who like insta-killing, is mine ramming. And this is actually a viable strategy. Cars, disable your shields, please. So mine ramming is literally that. When we're jousting each other in a duel, I will just try to ram him with my mine. And you can also do it with a mine and a CD simultaneous hit like this, although I didn't hit him now. But it's great to get insta-kills, basically.
That also, of course, means that you should never be
like
jousting an enemy when your shield is down and theirs is up.
Yeah. Because then they can go for a mine ram and you can't. What you want to do is use your shield bats when you're going for a mine ram. That's super important, because then you know you're not going to take hull damage. You're going to take shield damage, which is fine. Shield bats are there to be used for that specific purpose. So let's try a mine ram. Just fly at me. Another regular mine trap. It worked. And now we can try for the mine ram. You can see I regened my I used my 3 batteries I had, and I regened my shield just enough to tank my nuke and his nuke, while he took both on hull and he died. And if I didn't use my shield regens, I would have died here while he died.
You can also you can bait people into assuming you're not going to drop a mine because your shield is down if you still have bats. And then, like you said, just use them at the last moment to catch that mine.
If you know, like, if it's predictable. Yeah. If it's too predictable, that's what Kar said before. You don't want to drop mines too often, because the less you drop them, the less predictable you are, and the harder chance the opponent has of reading you from dropping a mine, which just leads in you landing more mines than the enemy.
This probably seems obvious, but mines primarily work if the enemy can't see you dropping them. If you're far enough away and you're at an angle where the enemy can watch you drop it, then obviously it's not going to do anything. And a lot of people do that if they're fairly new to snub combat. They figure, okay, well, I'm jousting this person, I'm flying towards them, I'm going to drop a mine, and then because they'll pass me, they're going to run into it. But that's completely pointless. If the enemy sees you drop the mine, then they'll just PD it or fly out of the way. So you want to keep your mines saved for a situation in which they either can't see it being dropped, or are so close they can't react even if they do see it.
Which is what we demonstrated with this. So to recap, in duels, you want to do, like, say I'm jousting this yellow blob here. I want to just EK a bit to the side, drop a mine, and as he passes, I CD him. It won't, obviously, like in general, don't expect mines to hit every single time. The hit accuracy is actually pretty low. I would say the hit accuracy is maybe like, 10 to 20%, depends on how good you are. You're not really expecting to hit all the time, but if you manage to land one, it's like, 10 to 15 bots? It's a massive advantage already. So, if, for example, if you never get hit by a nuclear mine in a fight, you will live much longer in general, which is why it's also good to learn this. Now, how to defend against mine traps? Well, the easiest way is to just CD when you're close to the enemy ship. Like, try to mine trap me, but not too obvious. Like, I'm just gonna do a safe CD every time we pass each other, and this is the safest way. This is the safest way, although it's a bit risky. See, now, because he tried to drop it and mine trap me, my CD blew it up, and he couldn't do it. The downside, obviously, is that you're running out of CD ammo at a super fast rate. But if you're a new player, even that might be solid enough, honestly. Like, 90 CDs will last you for quite some time. So doing a safe CD per pass is good. The second, more advanced version, obviously, is not doing that, but anticipating his mine and only then CDing. Like, if he's not gonna... He did a good one here. But if I know, like, I think he's not gonna mine trap me, then I won't CD him on that pass, and maybe I fly a bit defensively. While on the next pass, I'll fly super aggressively and then drop a CD for, like, insurance that he can't mine ram me, basically.
It's a lot of it is also psychological. Like, if you're in a fight and mines are being used, you're basically in a contest with the enemy of, okay, when is the other person using mines and when are they using CDs? Which is, again, what makes it so important to not to overuse mines, because if you use a lot of mines, then the enemy will use a lot of CDs. And if you then wait a while and and stop dropping mines and just chill for a second, then they'll relax on their CDing as well if they don't expect it. And that's when you can get them. we both dropped at exactly the same moment there.
Yeah. That's the safest way. Just drop a CD every now and then. As Carr said, mines are kind of mind games. Like, he dropped a good one here, but he didn't CD in time, so I managed to not get hit by it. That's why you can see the importance of CDs here. If you don't CD the mine, there's a very small chance that the mine will actually hit the target, because he has to literally run into it. And that is highly unlikely in an actual fight. So the main way is to use CDs. Another way to... Let's see, he ate that one and I ate this one because we were both careless. As you can see, from 90 ammo, I was using it before as well. I'm just now on 40 and I've CD'd quite a bit. So you can see safely CDing somebody is a pretty solid strat. Like here, I knew he was going to do it because his movement was so obvious.
Predictable.
Yeah.
A predictable movement pattern where somebody would drop a mine, and if you know what you're doing in a fight like this, you can see that and see, okay, well, there's a mine coming here. And frankly, that's one of the main causes of death for a newer PvPer in a duel, is that they drop mines in a predictable way and hurt themselves with them.
This was another EK mine trap, the most basic mine trap in the game. Another one here, and it was a bit far off. I expected him to drop it here, and I wanted the CD, but I didn't have the arc. This is another hit, although he unfortunately had a bit of shield. And now, since he doesn't have a shield, and I have it, I can go for a mine ram, which I didn't manage to get.
In a way, it's kind of weird doing this in this format, because of course we're talking about what we're doing, and
yeah, you don't know what
the whole mind games part isn't really there if you're doing this as a planned event. But in a normal fight, I mean, that's obviously a much bigger factor.
I'm trying to mine ram him now because I have a chance to insta kill. Now he regens, so I lost the chance to insta kill.
Oh, that's actually a very good point. That's another thing, another common mistake that newer players will do, is that they don't consider it very important to use their regens all the time. It's like, yeah, it's no problem. I still have 2/3 hull. Well, it is a problem if you're going to be running into a nuke.
See, I predicted that one, although I am spamming CDs now. Yeah, that is very important. Always use your regens, especially on like heavy fighters. If you get nuked, you will be left with like less than 10% hull. And that means if you got hit, before you got hit, you were like hit by some gun or something, there's a very high chance you will get insta-killed by that nuke.
It's not a bad idea. Oh yeah, sorry.
That is the reason why heavy fighters get so insta-killed so often. It's because they don't respect the nukes and don't regen in time to survive a nuke.
It's not a bad idea to look at how much hull base hull your ship has, multiply it by 2.5 armor upgrade, and then figure out about how much hull you
see, this was a mine ram, and I'm surprised it didn't die here because it was a double nuke. But
well, only one of them must have hit.
But my shield saved me here again. It was a double nuke, and my shield absorbed one of them and my hull the other. I don't think there's a VHF that can survive 2 direct nuclear mines to the hull.
No.
So nuke ramming can be very dangerous. That's why shield bats are super important for that. That's a really good way to get bots as well, because if you insta-kill somebody, you get all their regens. So keep that in mind. Don't try to force it too much, because when you're going for a nuke ram, you're exposed to the very basic thing I explained to Cars, which is this. The basic mine. Because you're going straight at me, I can just EK, drop a mine, and you will eat it, like I ate it just now. Although he wasn't EKing, he was doing the kind of turn which I described when you're running from somebody.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. Like, safe CDs are always useful like this, because I have very low shield, so he's probably not gonna mine me now. Oh yeah, one last thing. If your shield is at about 20% or lower, there's no reason not to try and mine trap, because you essentially have very little to lose. If my shield has only like 2 bars, and I try to mine trap and he CDs me, I will only lose those 2 bars of shield, which is no problem. But if I manage to get a mine on him, he will lose much more. That's also why if he has a low shield, there's no point in dropping a mine. Like, there's no point in mine trapping for this. Why would I mine trap for just like a portion of his shield? I would rather get it first down with guns and then try to mine trap. Use your shield with mine traps efficiently, and use your shield bats as described before. If you also see a mine coming and you know you're going to eat it, but you can't dodge it, and you're just looking at it, if you're fast enough, you can press your shield batteries to absorb it with your shield, which is also a general tip. Do you have anything else to add?
Yes, mine types. I think we should at least briefly go over those.
Yeah.
This entire thing was pretty much just about nukes. And that's not surprising because most people are always going to use nukes. And I'd say in pretty much 99% of all cases, nukes are really the only realistic options. Screamers is what people often like using on pure hullbuster loadouts, especially with 2.0s, the so-called shotgun loadout. But screamers work very much like nukes, except that the roles of hull and shield are reversed. You use them in the same manner, and they have pretty much the same stats as nukes, except that they do shield damage, and that you use them when the enemy has full shields rather than none.
Yeah, and apart from bombers, the only other class I see using screamers is light fighters, because if you're a light fighter and you want to use nukes, every single mine you drop, there's a chance you get insta-killed by it. So it's a pretty high risk for not much reward. So generally, light fighters will want to take 4 hull busters and a screamer mine. Also,
I never put nukes on light fighters.
Yeah, there's just no point. Even if you're going for a hull buster mine, take the Ripper, because it doesn't insta-kill you.
Exactly,
also,
that's the next point. The Ripper is, for those who don't know, it's essentially a nuke with sort of lighter stats. It's a bit faster, smaller explosion, less damage. It's not very popular, but it's honestly not a terrible choice. You have more ammo, and it's safer to use. If you're somebody who likes to use mines a lot, spam them a bit, Ripper is not bad, because the danger to the user is substantially less.
Yeah, and the only other one use I see for screamers is if you want to try it on like a loadout with full shotguns, for instance, mini razor plus 6 2.0s. Yeah, then screamers are pretty useful.
It should also be noted that screamers are quite powerful against cap ships. If you're in a larger group fight involving cap ships, you can actually de-shield a cruiser or even a battleship relatively effectively if you fly around it and drop screamers.
If the target is maneuvering around, though, they will have to run into it. It's pretty hard to hit a mine on a capital ship. Maybe battleships because they're so big, but in general, if there's like a cruiser turret steering, you have to get in front of it and just drop a mine and hope he runs into it.
That actually brings up another interesting point. I've noticed when I'm in smaller turret steering ships, like a freighter or a small transport, I often notice enemy fighters using mines, like trying to mine me, and don't do that. There's no point. I mean, if you're turret steering, you can see where the mine is. You can either shoot it or just not run into it. Don't try to mine transports. That is not going anywhere.
One general tip against caps, though, is if you're, like, let's say you're shooting at a cap and you have to come into close range and he reverses at you or does a maneuver that instantly closes the gap and suddenly you're in danger, you can drop a mine not to deal him damage, but to disrupt his aim. Because the mine on his turret-zoomed ship it appears like an object that influences his aiming.
Yeah, similar to missiles.
So you can just like spam a few mines if you're really close, and there's a chance those mines might save your life, because the capital ship will be distracted by your mines. Instead of shooting you, he will also have to pay attention to them, which will influence his aim. That's a pretty important tip. That saved me numerous amounts of times where I thought I was dead.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, I think this is pretty much it.
We can briefly mention swatters. They're honestly just a gimmick, but...
no, that's only you, Karst.
Yeah, I know.
See, I ate my own mine.
140 ammo limit, and they have 2.0 refire. If all you wanted to do is just drop mines continuously, go ahead, try out the swatters.
Just don't do it against the person who has a CD, because you will mine yourself more than the enemy.
Explosion range is so small. It's kind of hard to hurt yourself with them.
See, I anticipated a mine because he has a shield. I don't have a shield. It's a perfect time for him to try.
Very obvious.
Yeah.
Time to mine ram.
I took a risk here.
I dropped a mine here, and it was too late. He was already past it.
Now I'm gonna do a defensive run, which means I'm gonna start dodging before I even pass him, in order to not get mined, basically. But I have trouble aiming at 60 FPS anyways. This is not an actual fight. Okay, well, I think we covered everything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Hopefully we'll do some more tutorials in the future, but for now, this is it. Thanks for watching.
Be careful.